so die Musik gehört hat und wenn ich
As I listened to his music, and as I saw the hands, how he touched and guided the instruments, how deep he looked.
seinen Blick so tief, so war vorhanden und doch auch.
He was present in the moment, and at the same time, he gave us the feeling from a knowledge that one could take care of their earthly duties, and at the same time, you exist with the other part, or another part of oneself in eternity.
Gleichzeitig auch mit einem Fuß oder mit einem Anteil in der Ewigkeit.
He could make you feel this in the room, and could give us a taste at least for some time, and we all could drink heavily from it, depending on how open we were to it.
Wir konnten daraus kräftig trinken, je nachdem, wie wir offen dafür waren.
So this documentary is about the Sema, the traditional dance of the whirling dervishes. It goes back to the famous Mevlana Jalāl Rūmī of the 13th century, world famous poet and Sufi master, founder of the Mevlevi Tariqat. And Rahmi Oruç Güvenç did a special thing because he connected to the primordial way and form of this dance.
The story of Kilkapus was very interesting. One day, a piece of wood was left, and I could see that this piece of wood would be made into a new instrument. And I had also the need of a new Kilkapus. So I started to carve. And at the same time, there was a really bad mood in my home. I was quarreling with my wife. She screamed at me in the studio, which normally never happens there. So I continued carving and realized there is nothing left of me, only this process of carving. Carving for me is like a Sema. In this process, I'm very complete and concentrated. And slowly, I could see a form. I didn't think, I only carved the shape. And then I could see in the piece of wood the spine of Oruç. It had an inherent illness of a spinal column. I knew the spinal shape of him very well, and suddenly I saw this shape in this piece of wood. Then, in the evening, I don't know the exact time anymore, I left my studio. And suddenly my cell phone slipped out of my hands and broke into 1,000 pieces. This happened at exactly the hour of Oruç's death, but I didn't know it at the time. I received the news of his passing weeks later. Mevlana says, the master cut a bamboo from the bamboo grove. He makes 9 openings in this bamboo, and then he calls this bamboo Adam. Imagine playing the bamboo flute in this sloping posture. It symbolizes a bridge between thinking and feeling, between the head and the heart. The name of this bamboo flute is Ne, and what you blow into it is the sound Hu. Hu was the first sound in the universe. The 9 sections of the bamboo symbolize the 9 rings in the larynx. But first, you have to cut the barriers out of the bamboo. Mevlana tells us that the barriers symbolize the difficulties that people have, which they have to work on and overcome. The yellow color of the flute is the color of fasting. The dark rings are the fire signs of love. Then when the bamboo is hollowed out and empty, you can play music with it. The Sema, the Whirling Dance, has the same symbolism as the bamboo flute. You try to empty yourself inside. They say, Whoever says all the time, I, can't turn. But if he says, you, then he turns by himself. Then you take something from a certain perfect place and give it to another certain perfect place.
Sen onu gayrıda arama ey can.
In the Quran, God says, wherever you look, you can see the face of Allah. That's why you turn around your own axis, because you can see God in all directions. The heart, which dissolves in the ocean, finds joy. This is the message of the Sema. Anyone who embraces this idea, that God is everywhere and love is everywhere, has understood the essence of the Sema dance.
In another way, of course, the whirling is a universal thing. So you can bring this also in a cosmological context, where the whole universe is whirling, and the atoms are whirling, and the planets are whirling around each other. So you have the whirling movement, and also especially the spiral movement. And this whirling movement is a holy movement, it's a healing movement, it's a strong movement, it's a universal and cosmological movement.
İfna et sıfatın, ifna et sıfatın.
All atoms rotate. Electrons, positrons, neutrons, all kinds of trons are spinning. Sun, moon, galaxies, nebula galaxy, Andromeda, nebula, Venus, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. All are turning. Something is always in the motion of turning.
Rahmi Oruç Güvenç was an extraordinary human being. He was the founder of traditional Oriental music therapy. He was lineage holder of 6 different tarikats and the Sufi path and the Tasawwuf path. He taught hundreds of people music therapy, instruments, Tasawwuf, love and compassion. He was a real teacher. He was a human being, an insan al-kamil, a perfect human being, the highest rank which a human being can reach. In all his actions, in all his life, to all directions.
Geboren wurde im Juli 1948 in Tafschande, das ist so in der nordwestlichen Provinz von Kütahya.
He was born in July 1948 in Tafschande. This is a very rural area with agriculture and animal husbandry, sheep, cows, chickens, goats. And in 1948, there was almost no industry there, except that they had started to mine coal by open-cast mining. And it is a thermal area.
Oruç's Elternhaus, ist zu Hause geboren in einem alten osmanischen Häuschen in Tafschande.
Oruç was born in an old Ottoman cottage and grew up under very simple and modest circumstances. I was able to get to know his parents and think their humble character is something Oruç got from them and stayed with him until he died. a deep modesty towards life.
Ist tatsächlich etwas, was aus seiner Familie mitgenommen hat und was ihn auch bis zu seinem Tod begleitet hat. Tiefste Bescheidenheit dem Leben.
He came very early into contact with Central Asia through music, because his mother sang these pentatonic songs at home and also played the shankapus. Both of his parents had their roots in Central Asia, in Tatarstan. One of the first songs his mother sang for him was later included in the repertoire of the music courses.
War eins der ersten Lieder, was die Mutter ihm vorsang, war auch Bestandteil des Musikkurses.
Bazı rüyalarla oldu.
It came to me with some dreams.
Nitekim benim müziğe başlayışım da bir rüyadır.
Similarly, I also started music with a dream.
Ama ailede yatkınlık vardı.
But the family was inclined to Sufism.
Bizi daima teşvik ettiler.
They always helped us on it, encouraged us.
Mit 12 Jahren hatte einen bedeutsamen Traum, der ihn sozusagen.
At the age of 12, he had a significant dream, which also opened the door for his musical path. In the dream, a figure gave him a violin and said to him, "Play." Oruç answered, "I can't play." But the figure insisted that he should play. And so, in the dream, Oruç took the instrument and started to play, and quite enjoyed it. With these emotions fresh in his mind, he woke up and told this dream to his father, who right then got up and purchased a violin for his son. And so Oruç started to learn to play his first instrument using a German violin teaching book.
Autodidaktisch brachte sich dann viele andere Instrumente bei, wie die Oud, die Kurpus.
He then taught himself to play many other instruments: oud kabus, rebab, ney. He was in the school and university choir, and also played in a band, which traveled and toured through Central Asia.
Seine Lebensaufgabe war im Grunde, oder legte dann in dieses.
He dedicated himself to the study of healing cultures of the ancient Turkic people of Central Asia, and made it his life's work. While still in Tafshanlı, he also had very early first contacts with masters on the Sufi path. And came early on into contact with the mystical tradition of Islam and the Sufi path accompanied by its music. From one of his Sufi teachers, he got to know the ribab, a mystical instrument, which Mevlana brought from Central Asia to Turkey in the 13th century.
Bunlardan biri rahmetli Fazıl Bey. 15-16 yaşındayken tanıdığım bir şeydi.
One of them is Fazıl Bey. I met him at the age of 15-16.
Onun ders aldığı hocası 40. Batından Seyit.
And his master was a Sayyid from the Muhammad family from the 40th level, 40th grandson.
İkinci üstadım Turgut Bey, Mevlevi. Galata Mevlevi Hanesi son şeyhi, Ahmet Celalettin Bey'in son manevi evladı.
And my second master, Turgut Bey, was the last student of Ahmet Celalettin Dede, who was the last sheikh of Galata Mevlevi Hanesi.
Üçüncü üstadımız Ziya Efendi. Ziya Efendi 6 tarikattan şeyh.
My third master was Ziya Efendi, and he was the sheikh of 6 different paths, Sufi paths.
Ve o 6 yolun da sorumluluğunu bana verdi.
And he gave the responsibility of all 6 paths to me.
İslami tasavvufta böyle bir imkan vardır. Bazı kişilere birden fazla yolun sorumluluğu verilebilir.
In Islamic Sufism, there is such a tradition. Some people can receive the responsibility of more than one path.
Das Wesentliche auch, was der Oruç Bey gemacht hat, seine Reisen, sein Wissen weiter.
And there you will also find the essentials of what Oruç has done. He passed on his knowledge and always stressed the importance of travel. And then he began to organize the Friedensbrücke, which is where I met him for the first time. He traveled with different music bands from Central Asia to some European countries, and has visited Zurich, Freiburg, Villach, Kufstein, and many other cities.
Und dort hat nicht nur Konzerte gegeben, und nach den Konzerten hat eben Sochbets gehalten.
Oruç not only gave concerts in those places, he also held sohbet, Sufi teachings, and afterwards showed his audiences how to make the whirling dance, Sema, and then also taught them how to play the instruments. Students who had already mastered the instruments gave music lessons to those interested as well.
Musikunterricht gegeben auch. Also somit konnte das sehr schön verbreiten, und das ist ihm, muss ich ehrlich sagen, sehr gut.
In this way, he spread his knowledge and never took a break. He went from one concert to the next, from one sohbet to the next, from one sema to the next.
Von einem Konzert zu den anderen, von einem Sochbet zu den anderen, von einem Sema zu den anderen ist gegangen.
Geçen hafta Berlin'deydim.
Last week I was in Berlin.
Orada bir sema ve eğitim programı oldu.
There we had a seminar, some education and a sema.
Bu hafta Ankara'dayız. Yine sema ve eğitim programı var.
Today we are in
Seminar
Ankara.
var.
a similar program, Sema and Seminar.
Haftaya Münih var.
The next week, Munich.
2 hafta sonra İspanya var.
2 weeks later, Spain.
Sonra İran var.
Then Iran.
Şimdi bütün bunlar ne oluyor? Bu bilgiyi paylaşma yoluna götürüyor.
All these take us on the path to share this knowledge.
Ve bu paylaşımla uzaklık değil, yakınlık oluşuyor.
And with this sharing, it is not putting distance, but it's taking us closer.
Allah'ın istediği de bu.
Which I believe is what Allah wants.
Kur'an-ı Kerim'de Allah diyor, şeytan diyor, aranızı açmaya çalışır diyor.
In the Quran, Allah says the devil wants to push each other away.
Ama Allah istemiyor.
But Allah doesn't want this.
Aber was man bei ihm so unendlich, oder was ich gelernt habe, war das Dasein. Also der war mit einer 100%igkeit im Raum.
But what you learned from him, or what I have learned from him in particular, was being present.
Also das, wenn man das
He created a fertile awareness in the room and saw everyone.
intensiv,
If you had the opportunity to experience the intensity surrounding him, it ignited a lot of inspiration. And that was wonderful because it opens up so many levels within yourself. And he was sitting there, I mean in Turkey. Everyone had sohbet after the meal. Sohbet is a spiritual conversation from an enlightened soul. As I was sitting blissfully beside him, they said to me, "Oh my God, you are so poor because you don't understand the language." To which I answered, "Oh, I am totally happy." And then in Vienna, they all wanted to know what this or that means. And I said to Oruç, "I don't understand, because for me, all this is music. For me, these are all ringing words, and I would not even get the idea to ask, what is the meaning of all this? Because I'm touched." But when Oruç said to me, "Yes, this is enough for now, but one day you will have to know it." And he always said, "You'll know it." He didn't tell me how it should
Wenn
be.
jemand sich beklagt hat über irgendwas, über irgendeine Situation im Außen, hat er gesagt, ich war nicht dabei. Also,
If anyone complained about an outside situation that was problematic, he would say, "I wasn't there." So he never judged. He was very, very beautiful. His patience and tolerance were amazing. When he himself got hurt, with kindness he didn't condemn. He judged no one. But after that he would keep quiet, not talking much. And then everyone would get upset by his not talking.
Wenn er ein Instrument bekommen hat, ist damit in sein Zimmer gegangen. Es hat bei ihm geschlafen. Hat jedes neue Instrument bei sich im Zimmer schlafen lassen.
When Oruç got a new instrument, he took it to his room, and there the instrument would sleep with him. He let every new instrument sleep in his room so that the vibrations could harmonize. And his room was in complete chaos. He piled everything up to the ceiling, so much so that when he went looking for something, he was so very happy for other things he found in his search. He ended up finding something other than what he was originally looking for.
Aber er war zauberhaft. Er war einfach zauberhaft.
this was a unique way, because a lot of people only know this dance in the formal traditional form, like it's danced every year in the 17th of December in Konya. It's a ritual with all this dervish clothes on and the musicians. But at the time of Mevlana Jalāl Rūmī, this was different. They had not these clothes, they had not this ritualistic form of the Sema. It was more like an ecstatic event, which was forced through the energy from inside of this magnificent person, Mevlana Jalāl Rūmī. So it was like a matrix which formed around him, and all people, women, men, clothes, no special clothes, different colors, could participate in the Orthodox way. Only men could dance this whirling dance. But the original form was different, and this is very important that Dr. Rahmi Oruç Güvenç brought this special, original, primordial form of Sema back to the human race.
We learned from Oruç Güvenç that Sema was practiced in a different way during the time of Hazreti Mevlana. The ecstatic way that Hazreti Mevlana did the Sema was then replaced by more structured, ritualistic way of whirling. And it had some benefits, of course, to bring the tradition till today. But also, there was the possibility of losing something if you are fixed on the structure, especially for the beginners. And also what I observed was usually today people who practice Sema either practice it as a presentation or practice it in closed circles where it's not possible for anyone to go. Maybe they wouldn't reject who would go there, but you wouldn't know that there's a Sema, so it's somehow technically closed. But the Semas Oruç Hoca organized were open to literally everyone who was interested and had respect for the event. And it was announced, and it was announced on the web, on social media. And really, people who were interested, anyone who was interested would come. So I think that's the most important thing of the Sema events he organized, because he made Sema open to public without degenerating it. It was Sema all right, with all the spiritual aspects, with various spiritual aspects, and he was there to guide the event and feed it spiritually with his presence, with his music, with his very subtle rules, with his talks, sohbets. So, real spiritual, ecstatic Sema was made available to anyone who would be interested.
Şimdi bugün için Konya temelli ve Adil Çelebi zamanında değişikliğe uğrayan sema aktüel ve doğru sema zannediliyor.
Today, the generally accepted Sema is Konya-based. It took this form during the time of Adil Çelebi.
Bize göre böyle değil.
To us, it is not like this.
Çünkü Hz. Mevlana zamanında yapılan sema başka türlü.
Because the Sema practiced during the time of Hz. Mevlana was different.
Biz Adil Çelebi zamanındaki semaya saygı duyuyoruz.
We respect the Sema formed by Adil Çelebi.
Fakat bizim ilgi sahamız Hz. Mevlana'nın yaptığı sema.
But our attention is directed towards the Sema practiced in the time of Hz. Mevlana.
Biz bunun uğraşısı içine girdik ve aşağı yukarı 15 yıldır, 16 yıldır bunlar çalışıyoruz.
We entered in the study of this Sema, and since 15-16 years we've been working on this.
Bizim yaptığımız sema, Mevlevi literatüründe oda sema veya garipler sema denilen sema sistemine uyuyor.
The Sema we do is called the Oda Sema, the Room Sema, or Garipler Sema, the Sema of the poor.
Ve Adil Çelebi Hz. Mevlana'dan 350 sene sonra yaşamış olan Mevlevi Şeyh.
Adil Çelebi is a Mevlevi Sheikh who lived 350 years after Hazrat Mevlana.
Bir imaj algılayarak semayı değiştiriyor.
And he receives or he perceives an image and changes the Sema according to that image he perceives.
Biz ise değişmemiş semayı bugün tekrar canlandırmak ve bundan feyiz almak taraftarıyız.
What we prefer is to practice and revive the unchanged form of the Sema and to benefit from it.
Şimdi bizim gibi düşünen çok az kişi var.
There are very few who think like us.
Konya'nın bu Adil Çelebi sema daha çok tavsiye ediliyor.
This Adil Çelebi Sema of Konya is recommended more.
Çünkü onda daha bir farklı özellikler var. Kıyafet mecburiyeti var. Eğitim mecburiyeti var.
Because it has some other qualities in it, like the dressing, which is a requirement, the education, the training, which is a requirement.
Mutlaka Hz. Mevlana soyundan geldiği söylenen kişilerin yönetmesi söz konusu.
And it is said that it must be directed by someone who is said to be coming from the lineage of Hazreti Mevlana.
Fakat 3 kanaldan benim Mevlevi bağlantım var.
I have connections. I have 3 Mevlevi connections from 3 different channels.
Bu 3 kanalda da Hz. Mevlana ailesinden kimse yok.
And in none of these 3 channels, there is no one from the family of Hazreti Mevlana.
Ve üçü de tekkeden geliyor.
And all 3 of them are coming from a dergah.
Ve üçünde de Hz. Mevlana zamanındaki sema önemli.
And in all 3, the Sema of the time of Hazreti Mevlana is accepted.
Neden birlikte yapılıyor sözü var? Çünkü dergahlarda Hz. Mevlana zamanında bu semalar birlikte yapılıyor, birlikte coşku hissediliyor. Çünkü cem olma var. Yani tek İslam'da birlikte olabilmek, ayrılık değil, birlik olabilmek daha çok tavsiye ediliyor.
Why we do it together is because together we share the ecstasy of Sema. But the reason why we share the ecstasy of Sema all together, because Quran prefers coming together to going apart. So we, the Jam, the Jami, come together, unite. That's why we do it together.
Ama isteyen tek de yapabilir.
But those who wish can do it alone.
Buna yapamazsın diye bir şey yok.
We cannot say that you can't do it alone. You can.
Farklı gruplar. Farklı gruplar, farklı yorumlarla alakalı.
The different groups, different practices is which are because of different interpretations.
Nasıl Hazreti İsa'dan sonra Protestan, Katolik gibi mezhepler ortaya çıktı.
Just like after the time of Jesus, these Protestants, Catholics all separated some way.
Hazreti Muhammed'den sonra da İslam'da farklı mezhepler ortaya çıktı.
After Prophet Muhammad, there are different paths in Islam.
Hazreti Mevlana'dan sonraki dönemde de farklı yorumlamalar çıktı.
And after Hazreti Mevlana, there were different interpretations of his path.
Fakat az önceki silsilede söylediğim gibi mesela bizim sorumluluğumuz içinde 6 yol var. Bu 6 yolun ayrı ritüelleri var. Zaman zaman bunları Sema ile birleştiriyoruz.
But as I just told, I have in my responsibility 6 different ways, and in our Sema, we from time to time join the rituals of these different paths.
Onun için farklı gidiyor.
That's why it seems different.
Aslında o birleştirici.
In fact, it is unifying.
Tamam mı? Şimdi bu faaliyetin çıkış noktası.
Now the starting point of our activity lies in the figure of Hazreti Mevlana,
Bir zatın başlattığı ve ilk fasiküllerini hazırladığı, sonra Ahmet Eflaki isminde diğer yazarın
whose first biography was written by a person named Spikh Salah during the time of Mevlana. Then another writer named Ahmed Eflaki continued this work and completed a biography known as Legends of the Arifs, with the name Menakibul Arafin, a comprehensive 2-volume work. This book contains the legends about Mevlana and his family, his children, and successors after him. The information written in the book has not been disproved and seems to be an authentic and important source of ancient information. As mentioned in the book, Hazreti Mevlana left the city of Balkh 800 years ago and came with his father in a great caravan march to Konya in Turkey. With the inspiration of his masters and the knowledge of his path, he brought the Sema, the Whirling Dance, to a new glory. Of course, there was also Sema before Mevlana, but he added color and meaning to it, and combined knowledge with that meaning.
Even Hazreti Muhammad did Sema, his story where he heard a poem, and of the poem he get in a state of ecstasy, and he got up and he started to whirling, and also the friends around him started getting up and started to whirl. So Oruç presented this in a very beautiful way. So in everything, the Islamic tradition starts with Prophet Muhammad, and so also he said that this kind of dance, this kind of whirling, this kind of praise, and also pray, because Sema is also a prayer, start with Prophet Muhammad. And also not Muhammad, was maybe also in other traditions existing this type of movement in dance and in other artistic ways. So Muhammad then was also not the beginning of this whole process. It was maybe then a kind of bringing it back to life, and also Mevlana bringing it back to life.
With the disappearance of Mevlana's teacher from Konya, Mevlana began, out of his love and pain, to write poetry and compose songs. One day, lost in his lovesickness, Mevlana passed the corner of the goldsmiths in the bazaar. The goldsmiths hammered the gold to their own rhythm. Unfortunately, I don't have any gold. This rhythm made Mevlana ecstatic. And he whirled around in response. The goldsmith in front of whose shop this happened also fell into ecstasy as he saw Mevlana whirling. He gave away all his gold, except when he needed to keep the rhythm going. Selahattin Serkubi was the name of this goldsmith. And later, he and Mevlana became good friends. Getting to know the Sema, how it works, the daily routine and all the assigned tasks that you get to know, was a very impressive experience for me when I was there for the first time. Everything seems to be controlled by a magical hand. Everyone participates at the same time, individually, and with the whole group. You can be with the essence of the Sema, with the different musicians, with the people who you're with, and with yourself in the whirling process. In the experience of whirling, you are together with the music, which is, so to speak, the carrier medium between all the threads that are mixed up in this Sema event, because the music just keeps going. And it is almost imperceptible how the musicians change, and how the constellations of the musicians are changing, like drummers who play in different groups, or who are in the morning there, and then again in the night. This is such an interwoven miracle that one had the opportunity to get to know.
So this kind of Sema Oruç called circulation Sema. So there is this platform, Semahane, that people can whirl. There were these musicians on one part. There were people which are doing the Sikha. So you have the Sikha ritual, so you have the dancers which change. You have the musicians which change. But the music never will stop, not for 1 second. So it continues.
Then in that 99 days summer, he teaches us too many things about the music therapy and making a music to subconsciousness. You know, the state we call it yakaza state, between sleeping and awake, but you didn't prefer to sleep, that state. Making a music that state is really amazing experience for us. Thank you God, he gave me, Oruç Master gave me upstairs music responsibility, 24 hours, you know, because everybody has a shift, 2 hour, 2 hour, 2 hour. Each 2 hours, one musician responsible about it. For example, each 10 o'clock night, 10 to 12, Oruç Master was chanting. Morning 10 to 12, he came and played. I play in morning 4 to 6. Morning 46 and nighttime 46. So yeah, I mean, the subject's open subject because the Sema-Tradition and Sema stories are endless in our mind. I would like to take it how he teach us what is the making the music in subconsciousness and what is the main subject of Sema music, what we learn in Sema 99 Day or this kind of Sema tradition, the beat. You know, I was asking to Oruç Master, okay, upstairs there are some musician plays, what's the main subject? He said, always beat, zikr. Needs to be there, always. 1 round or something, always. Never stop like this. Because when you roll Sema, in Sema, just moves according to beat. It's like so when you stop it, the Sema doesn't stop. So 24 hours, we always wanted to just keep the beat on. Because if the beat goes there, then we put there the lyrics and melodies. For example, first song I learned with this oud in 1990, Derviş Olayım Dersen. Actually, most of the oud student of Oruç started in this song. So now in this beat, we put melody. So when one ilahi is finished, even the between ilahi, we never stop. And then change the ilahi and it goes like this. Even upstairs music, when musicians shift change, one musician goes like this without cutting, and other musician come there without no cutting beat. Sometimes Sema's and the world doesn't understand musician change. You know, Oruç Master said to us like this, you need to just keep the beat always going.
Hazreti Mevlana says about the whirling dance, it is the dialogue between God and the souls. When he created them, he asked, "Am I not your Lord?" And the souls answered, "Yes." And this intimate dialogue is symbolically reflected in this dance. He says, the whirling dance is a time when one is united with God. One turns around one's own axis as a sign that God is to be found everywhere. The right hand stretched upwards means that one takes the divine knowledge, passes it through oneself without being important as a person anymore, and passes the message on to the people with the left hand, showing down. If you get dizzy while turning, then look at your right hand, and so you will have again a fixed point to look at, and start breathing again. Contact with the ground and kneeling is a sign of humility. I am nothing and I am created by God. It is the state before birth, with this music symbolizing the voice of Allah, who created everything. For this reason, when the music starts, one kisses the ground as a sign that the earth and me are from the same creator. Then you stand up and greet the teacher, looking at his third eye, which is called Nazar. This means that there is an exchange between the two. As you stand up and greet, Place your right big toe on top of your left big toe. This goes back to a miracle that Mevlana performed with one of his disciples. And so you greet both of them by assuming this foot position. The same foot position is then assumed again at the end of the Sema. One turns to the left, which is the direction of the heart, and you turn in such a way that the left foot, the left big toe, always stays in contact with the ground, and only the right foot rotates around this axis.
Ich denke, es war ihm wichtig, dass einfach jeder, egal wo herkommt, in diese Erfahrung kommen kann und in diese.
I think it was important for him that everyone, no matter where they came from, that everybody can come into this community and experience this great coming together. It is an example in microcosm of life on this planet, how living together could work.
Also, dass es eine Haltung gibt, die alles und alle einschließt. Und dass es aber gewisse Regeln gibt.
Here exists an attitude that includes everything and everyone, but there are also some few rules that make this cooperation possible. These rules aren't very strict, but manage the basics of living together.
Also besonders kann ich mich erinnern, dass er manchmal ermahnt hat, dass die Leute halt nicht rauchen sollen und keine Drogen nehmen sollen und so, weil manche Gruppen dabei waren, wo das nicht so eindeutig war.
I remember some of the rules, that people shouldn't make noise, smoke, or use drugs in the immediate surroundings of the Verga. Everyone helped with eating, cooking, and cleaning. Those I remember were the most important rules. The whole project ran on a donation basis, and it was already the case that everyone should give a donation for their stay and maintenance. Those who find it easier may donate more, and as a result, those who found donating much more difficult could benefit from it.
Çeşitli yollardan gruplar geliyor, kendi programlarını uyguluyorlar.
We experience the examples of this in Gökçeada'da. People from various traditions come and they do their own programs upstairs.
Geliyorlar Hristiyan ilahiler okuyorlar, yine Sema yapılıyor. Yahudi ilahiler okuyorlar, yine Sema yapılıyor.
They come, they recite their Christian hymns and they we again do the Sema. They sing the Jewish hymns and we again do the Sema.
İşte birleştirme önemli.
What is important is to unite.
Hadis var Hazreti Peygamber'in. Müjdeleyiniz, zorlaştırmayınız, kolaylaştırınız.
Prophet Muhammad says, give the good news, make it easy, don't make it hard.